Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest was born to a French Vietnamese mother and a German father. Her music is noted for its cinematic electro pop and trip hop style, while her sound expresses deeply rooted themes like mental health and emotional life experiences. The Toronto based artist is known for her sultry, smooth, low voice, reminiscent of the true artists of the vintage jazz era, and an upper range that is soft and melodic. So, let's spill the tea with Nathalie King. Welcome, Nathalie.
Hi, David.
First of all, we want to find out about your musical journey because when we spoke earlier, I find out that that your family is not really a musical family, at least not on a professional level. So where did you get the inspiration to become a musician?
That's actually a very good question. And I always thought of myself of maybe being an alien that was dropped into this family because I was literally the only artistic member of my family. I have a younger sister and my parents. They're all not doing anything creative. So I'm not sure. I always did arts and crafts as a child, and I discovered audio cassettes that my mom had in the living room in this very dark oak maple wooden chest. And I remember in the drawers there were all these cassettes with songs by Michael Jackson, Julie Andrews, Sound of Music, and yeah, I don't know. I think that was my first exposure to music, and really don't know where it came from. At the age of 9, I started playing and learning saxophone, and then until I was 16, and then I switched to singing lessons. And yeah.
Now you've had formal vocal jazz training. What did that jazz or what did that vocal training help you with? Many artists that I talk to have never had any vocal training. What did you notice about the transition from your voice and your ability to sing from before you had the training to after?
Okay, so when I was learning and playing saxophone, I always wanted to sing the tunes, but I couldn't because saxophone is not an accompaniment as an instrument. It's the main instrument. So I was like, oh, and I remember one time I just threw it to the side because I wanted to sing, or I wanted an instrument that could accompany me singing. So then when I took speech level singing classes, that's a specific training uh, originated in the States, and we had one teacher in Munich, Germany, that was teaching that technique. I had 4 years of speech level singing training, and I noticed that that technique was just amazing. It basically teaches the voice to sing the same way you're speaking. Like it's such a wholesome, healthy technique. Um, yeah, so I just learned how to sing without much strain and effort, if that makes sense. And it was quite a journey. It's there's quite some like techniques and tricks, you have to practice and learn. But I noticed that I was able to sing anything from like musicals and how to project the voice to jazz, smooth jazz to like Motown and R&B. We went in all sorts of directions. And it's interesting because every music genre requires different techniques, but you are learning them in a way where you're not straining the voice. So that's why it's called speech level singing, I guess.
Now, people that are listening to you will detect a slight accent, not very much, but a slight accent.
So
So we do know that I think you were born in Germany, and you started off in Munich, then you traveled to England. Now you live in Toronto. Tell us about that journey. How did you end up being born in Munich and end up in Toronto?
yeah, I had nothing to do with the being born part. That was my parents. So yeah, I was born in Munich. I grew up in Munich, went to school, finished my A level, During my film studies, because my mom didn't want me to become a musician because she didn't think there was money in music. So I took a little detour in studying film and classical animation. So I started in Munich. I finished my last year in London in the UK, and I just loved London as a city and just so much culture and just, music and film culture. And then I did another diploma in Vancouver in animation. And then I was told there's more work in Toronto. So I moved to Toronto and started working. And then I went back into music because I started working as a graphic designer and animation artist as a freelancer. First, I was with a few companies here. Then I did freelance and I did more of my music work. And now I'm balancing music work and graphic design and animation.
So how does mom feel about the music career now? Does she is she supportive now, or does she still look at you and say, Natalie, it's not too late. You could still find that real job.
Well, you wouldn't believe it. She still criticizes everything, no matter it's like, oh, why are you singing sad songs? You should be singing happier songs. So, oh, I don't like the thing you do with your voice, or you won't believe it. I mean, there's a reason why I moved all the way across the globe, right? Yeah. And that's actually
Oh,
what my EP is about, the childhood trauma. Full circle.
oh, moms. Now you describe your music as being trip hop. I know what hip hop is. I'm not sure what trip hop is. Help us understand.
Yes, so I mean, it is influenced by trip hop. It's not pure trip hop. So trip hop, I grew up with, I think that was when I was living in, at the end of my Munich, beginning of London stay, I got introduced to Massive Attack and Portishead and all these trip hop bands. And it spoke to me because it was very melancholic, very moody. Usually the female vocals reminded me of like jazzy vocals, but they were sung on a hip hop beat with these like very synthy, melodic, melancholic instrumental compositions. So it just really struck a chord, and I was hooked. And then yeah, on my journey of songwriting, I implemented like I used to sing jazz a lot, like a jazz bistro and with the James B crowd, but I also wanted to create songs of my own, like songwrite myself. And I have a lot of sadness, I guess, and trauma within my cells that come out in a creative way. So I kind of put it all together, like the jazz voice with the melancholic melodies and like very deep, meaningful lyrics. And it kind of is that genre of trip hop, right? So it kind of mixed, or let's say inspired my music as well in a way.
Now, you do play saxophone, which I think is one of the great instruments, certainly one of the great wind instruments. People know you as a singer? Are they surprised when you pull out the saxophone and you can actually play it?
Well, I have actually never pulled it out again, here and there at home, but not because I was living in a condo in Toronto. You can't just pull out a saxophone and play. Like the neighbors would call the cops,
I was
right?
going to say, you can, just not for very long.
Yeah. And then here's the thing, you know what? I should actually use it in one of my songs because I just dropped it. I still have it. I dragged it all the way to England, Vancouver, and Toronto with me, but I just never played it anymore. And maybe I should. So people actually don't know that I play saxophone. They only know me as a singer-songwriter.
Let's get into one of the songs that Natalie wrote. This song is part of an EP entitled PTSD, which is being released in November of 2024. It explores the hurt throughout our lives. So let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Nathalie King and her song, You.
Take this heart, don't wanna have it anymore. You taught me how to build a wall, can't hurt no more. And I'm losing There's a beast under my skin. It's raging, raging. If you look close, you'll see it's only hurting, only hurting. Hold me close, hold me close, hold me close. Only one, but I can have all along. Never was mine to hold or belong. There's a beast under my skin. It's raging, raging. If you look close, you'll see it's only hurting, only hurting. Hold me close, 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 hold me close.
That was You by Nathalie King. Natalie, tell us about that song. Many songwriters say that they write their songs and get their inspiration from personal situations. Some write vicariously, some do it in third person. What is this song about, and what was the inspiration to write it?
Yes, so this song is part of the EP PTSD, which is basically um, a, a journey through my healing path. So it starts with all the hurt from my childhood trauma, and then the situations I was facing throughout my adulthood, especially, and meeting other people, like relationships and dating, and the relationship to myself, to healing and therapy, and just the growth and maturity of it all, and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Because I was, and probably still am, battling with anxiety and depression and lots of things. And so You is about all the thick layers we put on to protect our inner self. Let's say, in my case, in other people's cases, we all have these layers of ego and, all these not nice layers that we put on, um, in order to protect our inner softest core and not to be hurt again, because we've been hurt by, I don't know, maybe parents or bullies or other kids, or later on partners that we met, and or societal, any societal issues and generational traumas. And I think these layers we put on so that we don't get hurt again, because all we want at the end is being loved and the feeling to belong. But they can also be pretty ugly, because having a big ego is not that good. Um, and then, narcissism and just all the baggage that comes with it, basically, is just a front that we put up in order to protect ourselves. So I think our job is to work through these layers, to learn and still be compassionate and loving, but also just be cautious, right? It's a very complicated thing to be a human.
Nathalie, how do people find out more about you? What's the website? What are the socials where they can go and find out more about you, your music, and where you are performing?
Yes, so I have the EP release show coming up on the 24th of November. People can find out about the music on Spotify under Nathalie King, on my website. My website is the best spot because it links to all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. So just Nathalie/king.com is the best way.
And Nathalie is spelled Nathalie.
Yes, French.
We have been in conversation with Nathalie King. Nathalie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, David. Thanks for having me.